is approved or denied. The Planning Commission holds the only public hearing on requests for preliminary plats and/or vacating petitions. The Commission's recommendation is forwarded to City Council for the final determination as to whether a petition is accepted or rejected. If a petition requesting a waiver of use or a site plan is denied tonight, the petitioner will have 10 days in which to appeal the decision in writing to City Council. Resolutions adopted by the City Planning Commission will become effective 7 days after the date of adoption. The Planning Commission and professional staff have reviewed each of these petitions upon their filing. The staff has furnished the Commission with both approving and denying resolutions, which the Commission may or may not use depending on the outcome of the proceedings tonight. If our Secretary is ready, please call the roll.
Mrs. DeNaro.
Here.
Mr. Bonjero. Here. Mr. Long.
It's here.
Mr. Droz.
Here.
Mr. Ventura.
Is here.
Caremagno is here. Chairman Wilshaw.
Is here. And also with us tonight, we have Jacob Uhazi. We also have Stephanie Reese. They're from our planning department. And for folks in our audience that have not been to one of our meetings, the way the meeting works is our planning staff will start with background information on each of these agenda items as they're called on the agenda. Then we'll ask the petitioner to come forward and speak to the item. They'll tell us about their petition. We'll ask questions of them. And then we'll have an opportunity for anyone in the audience who wishes to speak for or against the item to come forward after that. Once we've heard from everyone, we'll go back and make our decision as to an approving or denying recommendation. So with that, we're going to begin with the public hearing section of our agenda, item number 1.
Petition 2025-11-02-19, submitted by Detroit Light Action LLC, requesting waiver use approval under Section 3.11 and Section 6.14 of the Livonia zoning ordinance as amended to operate a banquet center with occupancy of over 50 people at 28370 Joy Road, located at the northwest corner of Thorpe Street and Joy Road in the southeast quarter of Section 36.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Good evening, Mr. Uhazi.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. This petition is to expand an existing banquet facility that can currently operate with a max of 50 people to a max of 125. The location is in a shopping center on the north side of Joy Road between Thorpe Street and Harrison Street. The shopping center includes a pool hall, church, bakery, pizzeria, and barber shop. The shopping center parcel is split into separate buildings, as you can see here in the map. The petition site measures 0.275 acres in size with 40 feet of frontage along Joy Road. The entire shopping center measures 2.16 acres in size. As I mentioned, this site was previously used as a banquet facility and was approved by the building department for up to 50 people. In September of 2025, the new property owner was approved for occupancy with the building department. The existing zoning for the site is C2. Adjacent properties to the east, well, the entire shopping center is zoned C2 as well, but across Thorpe Street is a daycare zoned C2 general business. To the west is a veterinary hospital across Harrison, which is zoned C2. To the south, there's a mobile home community and nursing care center, which is located in the city of Westland. And to the north is a residential properties zoned RUF. The petitioner is seeking waiver use approval to expand the existing allowance of up to 125 people. The existing building footprint is 3,200 square feet. The section 16.14 of the zoning ordinance states banquet facilities shall not be located within 300 feet of residential zonings. This is measured from the property line to the property line. As noted, the property directly to the north is zoned residential. Section 13.13 of the zoning ordinance does empower City Council to waive that separation requirement with a 2/3 vote. The proposal is for the 3,200 square foot event center that would include a reception area, entertainment area, kitchenette area, utility room, work staging area, and 2 restrooms. There is garbage that is currently being used with city cans out in the back. The unit is allowed one sign based on the frontage of the unit. No sign package was received. And then parking for section 9.04 of the zoning ordinance requires one space per 100, or per 50 square feet of floor used for assembly. The floor plan shows an entertainment area of 37 feet by 45 feet, or 1,665 square feet, which would require approximately 34 parking spaces. The subject parcel does only have 17 parking spaces on site, but the petitioner has provided a shared parking agreement with the rack pool hall next door. And then, just for reference, the entire complex has 120 parking spaces. If you use the zoning ordinance for general commercial, for this site, it would require about 74 spaces for the rest of the site, totaling, with their 34 required spaces, the site should have, per the ordinance, about 108 parking spaces, which, as I mentioned, currently has 120. With that, Mr. Chair, I have some correspondence that I can read.
Sure, if you'd like to read that out, please.
From our engineering department, in accordance with your request, the engineering division has reviewed the above referenced petition. We have no objections to the proposed waiver use at this time, but would like to note the following items. 1, the subject parcel is assigned the address of 28370 Joy Road. Should additional addresses be needed, the owner will need to contact this department once approvals have been obtained. 2, existing parcel is currently serviced by public sanitary sewer and water main, as well as private storm sewer. Utility information has not been submitted with the drawings, but we do not believe there will be any adverse effects from the proposed project. 3, should any revisions to the utility services to the building or any work in the right-of-way be required, the owner will be required to submit drawings to this department to determine if engineering permits will be required. This is signed David Lear, Assistant City Engineer. From the Fire Department, the office has reviewed the site plan submitted in connection with a request to modify a commercial building on the property located at the above referenced address. We have no objections to this proposal. If applicable, submit plans and permits for kitchen operations. City Building Department will determine an occupancy load per Assistant Director. Occupancy load limit is required to be posted. If a sprinkler system exists for the strip mall and is in the proposed occupancy, the system must be maintained and monitored. A further detailed plan review will take place when this division receives an official plan set. Signed, Brian Kukla, Fire Marshal. From the Traffic Bureau, I've reviewed the plans in connection with this petition. I have no objections to the proposal. Signed, Paul Walters, Sergeant. From the Department of Finance, I have reviewed the address connected with the above noted petition. The following amounts are due to the City of Livonia: unpaid water and sewer charges of $5.03. Signed, Benjamin Greer, Finance Director. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. We do have an update that the payment was received and filed, so that's been taken care of.
Okay.
And then we have a letter from the Treasury Office that the owner is current on their property taxes. A previous tenant that ran a banquet facility in the same location owes a past personal property tax of $257.71. The City of Livonia will not be transferring the tax to the new owner. Previous owner removed all personal property. Signed, Susan Nash, City Treasurer. And that is all I have.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Uhazy. Is there any questions for our planning staff? Sure, Ms. Denaro.
Jacob, can we talk a little bit about parking?
Yes.
Does the shared agreement give them access to the entire parking lot or just their neighbor's lot? And if so, how many parking spots do they have access to now?
With the letter that I have is for the rack billiards establishment. I do not know offhand how many are in their particular parcel, but that may be a better question for the petitioner of how much they have access to.
Yep, thank you.
Good question. Any other questions for staff? Okay. The petitioner, I believe, is in our audience. Feel free to come forward to our podium. We ask that you start with your name and address. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Vedran Karahusik. This is my wife, Mirella Karahusik, and we are a family-owned business that is opening up this venue center. Thank you for having us this evening.
Good evening.
The question, as for the parking, ma'am, is we do have racks, which is to the right-hand side of us. That's the pool hall. We have the letter that I submitted over to this fine gentleman a couple days ago. We are having a shared parking. The way the nature of our business works and operates, most of our events will be either from noon to 6, and then from 6 to 10 at max. The pool hall is open from noon to 2 o'clock in the morning. We do not anticipate being open longer than 10, and there's a church to the left-hand side of us that I will provide a letter to. We just couldn't get a hold of the person running the church, so we'll be splitting the parking with the three. The church is not there in the evenings. The church is not there throughout most of the week, so the parking, 95% of the time, is pretty empty. And it allows us, for our nature of the business, where the parking lot is empty majority of the time. So we have touched base with both of the parties, and they both agreed to share parking with us.
Okay.
We also have our architect here as well, our head of design. So last time we had some questions about the bathroom, which we just got approval on plumbing today. And we got approved for moving the plumbing around.
Okay. And would you like to tell us anything about, anything else about your need to expand from your current occupancy of 50 over to 150?
We don't anticipate ever, yes, sir. We don't ever anticipate having 125 people. Right now, the max we'd ever host is 100, the way we have it set up with tables and tents. We just wanted that buffer to have about 25. This is going to be birthday parties, small events, and I'm sure my wife will speak to the rest of it as well. But currently, when we wanted to make it bigger than 50 people, we had to get the bathrooms up to code. This is why this fine gentleman's here with me this evening. And we would have been grandfathered in last year by 7 inches. Unfortunately, we were not lucky enough to be grandfathered in, so we had to rearrange the toilets, the walls, and expand the bathrooms. And I know we talked about that last time, which we have, and that has been approved by the gentleman running everything with sitting. I don't know if you want to speak to that.
No.
Okay, that's it. If anybody has any questions about the architecture, you can ask this fine gentleman behind me. He's a little more qualified than I am, but that's why he's here with us this evening.
Oh, we appreciate that. Is there any questions for our petitioner at this time? We'll start with Mr. Droz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. One question I had, and maybe this is about the center in general. There's an alley on the back side. Is that used for any trash, or is that all handled at the street?
Everything's handled at the street level. There is a dumpster. My wife can probably speak to that to the far
It's on
left-hand
the
corner.
Yeah, it's in that corner. That's where I guess the dumpsters are, but there's nobody going back to that back little alley. Nobody's using it for any purposes.
Okay.
It's just there.
Unfortunately, right now, it's not paved. That's
Right.
how they have it. It is, you can drive with a vehicle. Nobody seems to utilize it, but it's clear.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Mr. Ventura.
Good evening, and thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Just to reiterate, you,
Mr. Ventura, could you pull your mic down so our vast TV audience can hear? Thank you.
just to reiterate, you told us at the study meeting that you're not going to have any alcohol at your facility, is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
Okay. And with regard to the parking, can you tell me, does the church lease there, or do they own that parcel?
To my knowledge, they lease.
Yeah.
They
To my
lease.
knowledge, they lease it.
Okay, and how
Yes, sir.
about the pool hall?
The pool hall owns it.
Owns it?
Yes.
So your agreement with the pool hall will stay in place?
Yes, sir, which that's
Okay,
the signed form that we have.
And have you approached the owner of the property that the church sits on?
I've actually had the conversation with the individual that's running the place. The problem is she's there probably once a week, if that, unless they're having church services, and for some reason they did not have services this weekend. We do have a letter in place with them as well about shared parking. It's just with everything that they've had going on, we haven't been able to get that document over to you guys, just waiting for them to send it over.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Mr. Bonjero.
Mr. Chair, just a quick question. I know you're seeking approval to 125. Does 100 do it?
I think so. The only reason we even did 125 is because we wanted to give ourselves that buffer instead, in case we were to get denied and go, I'd rather set a higher limit and go from 125 to 100 versus 100 and then go down to 80 or 70. We are not anticipating to have, like he said, we don't even have the inventory for that. If we have to order for 125, we will. It's just, if we have to settle for 100, we will.
Thank you.
All right.
We'd rather be compliant.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Any other questions? Mr. Nara?
Can you, there's no alcohol at this venue. Can you tell us what kind of events these will be?
So these will be baby showers, first birthdays, small bridal showers. We were planning on doing smaller, I guess, weddings as well, but that just seems like a lot more than I personally can handle. I have 2 kids, and those type of events go midnight, 1, 2 o'clock. That is not the type of clientele that I want. The pool hall is open till 2 a.m., and I honestly don't want to mesh with the clientele and all of that, so I'd rather have a hard stop at 10, 11, even if I have to push out till midnight. I just don't want to go too deep into that.
And what are the hours?
So it's just going to depend whenever the client needs it. We're hoping to do morning or like mid-afternoon brunch events, for example, first birthday parties, things of that nature. So we're hoping to have a schedule between 12 and 4, and then anywhere between 6 and 10. If they want to rent out the space for an additional hour and 2, that will be a fee, but we don't anticipate having any events past 11 or 12 at worst case scenario. We're hoping to have a hard stop at 10 o'clock.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
And Mr. Chair, I've got a couple.
Mr. Caremagna?
So the hours till 11 o'clock-ish is what you just stated. That's good. Garbage, let's talk about garbage again. So you'll bring your garbage out to the curb once a week?
No.
Or what will you do with it?
When the events are over with, there is, from what I have been told by the owners that are currently there, we all share the dumpsters that are in the back. So at the end of our events, it says in our contract, those clients will be responsible for taking out the trash and taking it in the back dumpster.
Okay, so they'll put it in the
Correct.
existing dumpster there?
Absolutely, yes.
And
Yep.
if you start if business is good and you start generating a lot of trash, you have to
Another dumpster.
readdress that, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. From what I'm told, the bakery actually has either 1 or 2 dumpsters that they have gotten city approval for, because I guess of how much trash they dump out, so they've given me contact information to, if I need to reach out to someone to get an additional dumpster, I can do that as well.
Okay, and when your venue is open, will you have a manager on site? Will someone be
It
there?
is my hope, yes. That,
So someone will be there to make sure there's no alcohol being served?
absolutely,
To
yeah.
make sure that it's within your standards?
Correct.
And your contract with your people that are
yeah,
renting the
we
place?
also have cameras that we plan on installing as well. We're aware that the pool hall, they serve alcohol, they serve food and all of that stuff, so we're trying to keep the 2 separate. We don't want to be able to commingle, which is why I want a hard stop at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at the latest. I feel like everything past that kind of gets a little tricky. People are out drunk, things of that nature. I don't want to merge my clientele with theirs.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Caremagna. Any other questions? I was going to ask about trash as well. How many events do you anticipate having per week?
It's hard to say. I mean, my goal would be 3 to 5, especially during the summer, because we have graduation. We've been in this industry for over 5 years, and we already have certain rentals that we incorporate with our events, which is why we decided to go the venue route. Graduation and prom season is a whole different ballgame. Kids are graduating, parents are, celebrating things of that nature, so it'll be a lot more in the summer season, but winter, I would hope to get 3 a week if we're lucky enough.
Okay, so you expect to have sort of seasons where you're
Correct.
busier and
Exactly.
less busy?
Yeah, this is our slow season, summertime. I'm hoping that we could even have certain events during the week, but that's wishful thinking.
Okay, yeah, and my concern, as Mr. Caremagno's probably is if you're doing well and having lots of events, where is all the trash going to go from? your
And
events?
just to that point, like, the plaza right now definitely needs a heavy facelift, and I just wanted to state that. So we're trying to bring value to the plaza in the city of Livonia. We've already painted the front, and we're changing the windows. So cosmetically, we're trying to do the most upkeep we possibly can. I don't want to speak on my wife's behalf over here, but knowing her, she's a stickler. So making sure the plaza itself is clean. We've already, I feel like, implemented that just through the construction we've done. So we want to be there for a long time and make sure the plaza is clean and it gets a well-needed facelift as well.
We appreciate that. I know that this is kind of a unique plaza in the sense that most of these plazas that we see throughout the city are owned by a single owner, and then each of the tenants rent a space. These are individual units, all owned or leased by individual people, so, what happens in your unit may not necessarily translate to what happens in all the
Exactly.
adjacent units. So it's hard to get that cohesive, design and appearance.
Yeah, 100% agreed. And with us owning it, we do take pride in it is ours. We want to make sure it's the best upkept and looked. So we're doing everything we can from obviously electrical, plumbing, cosmetics, and I don't anticipate the trash being any problem. And if need be, we're willing to invest in it as well.
To get a dumpster, okay, good. All right, if there's no other questions from any of the commissioners of the Kara-Huseks, I don't see any other questions. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak on this item, either for or against? If so, please come forward. I don't see anybody jumping out of their chair. So I think we're okay. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us before we make our decision?
I don't think so. All set.
That's all set. Thank you
Rest
for your
good up here?
time. We do look forward to improving the plaza, and we're happy we're here in Livonia, so thank you for your time.
Well, thank you for coming. I'm going to close the public hearing at this time, and a motion would be in order.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Ventura.
I'd like to offer an approving resolution that the request to operate a banquet center with occupancy of over 50 people at 28370 Joy Road is hereby approved, subject to city council approval and the following conditions. Number one, that the site plan dated November 14th, 2025, as revised, prepared by AB-SB Land Survey PC, is hereby approved and shall be adhered to. Number two, that the specific plans referenced in this approving resolution shall be submitted to the inspection department at the time the building permits are applied for. Number three, that the establishment shall not serve nor or allow outside alcohol on the premises. Number four, that the establishment shall be limited to no more than 100 guests. Number five, that appropriate recordable legal instrument such as a cross-access agreement that gives notice and outlines the terms of how the subject property would share parking and access with abutting properties be supplied to the inspection department at the time a building permit is applied for. Number six, that no signs, either freestanding or wall-mounted, are approved with this petition. All such signage shall be separately submitted for review and approval by the Planning Commission and City Council. Number seven, that no LED light band or exposed neon shall be permitted on this site, including but not limited to the building or around the windows. And number eight, pursuant to section 19.10 of ordinance number 543, the zoning ordinance of the city of Livonia, this approval is valid for a period of 1 year only from the date of the approval by the city council, and unless a building permit is obtained within that time, this approval shall become null and void at the expiration of said period.
Is there support?
Support.
There is a motion made by Mr. Ventura, supported by Mr. Bonjero to approve. Is there any discussion on that motion? Hearing no discussion, if the secretary is ready, please call the roll.
Mr. Ventura.
Aye.
Mr. Bonjero.
Aye.
Mrs. DeNaro.
Aye.
Mr. Long.
Aye.
Mr. Gross.
Aye.
Kurt Magno votes aye. Chairman Wilshaw.
Votes aye, motion passes. We'll go on to city council with an approving recommendation. Good luck with your expansion. Thank you for coming tonight. Now we move on to item number 2 on our agenda.
Item number 2 is petition 2025-11-02-20, submitted by Bailey Built PLLC, requesting waiver use approval under sections 3.10 and section 6.37 of the Livonia zoning ordinance as amended to operate a massage establishment at 33529 7 Mile Road, located at the southwest corner of 7 Mile Road and Irving Street in the northeast quarter of section 9.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Mr. Uhazy.
Thank you. This is a request under section 6.37, which would require waiver use approval to operate a massage establishment at this location. The strip mall of the petition site is at the southwest corner of 7 Mile and Irving Street. The entire center measures 0.33 acres in size. The surrounding properties are, well, to the east is C1 local business, to the west is C1 local business as well. To the south is N2 neighborhood, and to the north is C2 across 7 Mile general business. Massage establishments are permitted within the C1 district with a waiver use approval per section 6.37 of the zoning ordinance. The hours of operations are limited to 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Parking for a massage establishment requires 1 space per 150 square feet of floor area. This center would require 6 parking spaces. There are 4 parking spaces that are shown appear to be shared with the suite to the east. There are also parking spaces at the rear of the building. It does appear to be a separate parcel, but we would have to probably get information from petitioner to identify exactly what parking spaces they have access to. The parking spaces are shown to be single striped. They do require to be double striped. Per the section 6.37 of the ordinance, there's a separation requirement of at least 400 feet from any other massage establishments. And as you can see here, there is another massage establishment within the 400-foot buffer across 7 Mile Road. And as we discussed at the study session, there is another one right to the west as well. Another provision in the zoning ordinance is that there must be at least 400 feet from any school, place of worship, state licensed daycare facility, public library, or playground. There are no schools, places of worship, daycare facilities, or such within the 400-foot buffer. The unit is allowed 1 sign based on the frontage of the building. No signs were proposed with this petition. There are no proposed changes to the facade of the building, as shown in the top of this map. Then the floor plan shows a reception area, waiting area, a utility room with unisex bathroom, and 2 massage rooms that the door has been removed per our discussion last week. With that, Mr. Chair, is all I have. I
Sure,
can
would you
read
like
some
to?
correspondence as well.
Yeah, if you'd like to read that out.
From the Engineering Department. In accordance with your request, the Engineering Division has reviewed the above referenced petition. We have no objections to the proposed waiver use at this time, but would like to note the following items. 1, the subject parcel is assigned the address range of 33527 through 33529 7 Mile Road, with the address of 33527 7 Mile Road being assigned to the overall parcel. Should additional addresses be needed, the owner will need to contact this department once approvals have been obtained. 2, the existing parcel is currently serviced by public sanitary water and main, as well as private stormwater. Utility information has not been submitted with the drawing, but we do not believe there will be any adverse effects from this proposed project. Should any revisions to the utility services to the building or any work in the right-of-way be required, the owner will need to submit drawings to this department to determine if the engineering permits will be required. Signed, David Lear, Assistant City Engineer. From the Fire Department, the office has reviewed the site plan submitted in connection with the request to modify a commercial building on the property located at the above referenced address. We have no objections at this proposal, to this proposal. A further detailed plan review will take place when the division receives an official plan set. Signed, Brian Kukla, Fire Marshal. From the Police Department, I have reviewed the plans in connection with this petition. I have no objections to the proposals. Signed, Paul Walters, Sergeant of the Traffic Bureau. From the Engineering Department, pursuant to your request, the above referenced petition has been reviewed. This department has no further objections to the petition. Signed, Jerome Hanna, Director of Inspection. And finally, from the Finance Department, I've reviewed the address connected with the above noted petition. As there are no outstanding amounts receivable, I have no objections to the proposal. Signed, Benjamin Greer. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Mr. Uhazy. Any questions for our planning staff? I don't see any questions. Is the petitioner in our audience? Very good. Yes, you can come over to this podium.
You can go to both.
Yeah, either one or both. You can gang up on us.
Okay. Good evening, Planning Commissioners. My name is George Bailey. I'm the architect on the project. My address is 1155 Hampton Road, Grosse Pointe Woods.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Hugh. I am the licensed massage therapist trying to open this space.
Okay, very good, thank you. And what would you like to tell us about your request?
So just to kind of reiterate what was already been said, the existing space. It's an existing building along 7 Mile Road there. The existing building has been, the exterior facade's been improved in the last few years, I believe, by the building owner, which is Gargaro Construction, who has offices in the same building next door. We did modify the floor plan to kind of give that, to take out the actual doors and give it just, at the request of my client, also wanted to have some level of privacy. There's still an opening there without a door, so in the floor plan itself, we made that modification. Just to kind of add over the top as far as kind of the business itself, and Hugh can kind of deliver kind of probably more detail, but I understand without getting into gory details about why this process is required for this type of establishment. I believe, though, that he is going to have private clients on an appointment basis. It's not a walk-up massage establishment like the one that's across the street. The reference in the study meeting to the one on the same side of the street, I believe the name of their business is primary, looking at their website, their primary business is yoga and salt therapy, I believe. Massage therapy is listed as one of their things, but way down the list of services and things like that. I understand that, generally speaking, so just to kind of throw that in there for good measure. And I believe, trying to, establish his own business and do well by the community, I think is the goal here for him. I don't want to speak out of turn for him, but.
Yes, it is. I'm just trying to help people that goes through like office jobs and just everyday stress. Like a lot of people you see in the like walking around have like four shoulders where there's like leaning forward, and a lot of that has to do with the ribs coming forward a lot. And because how our society is, we're always on our phone and our necks are looking downward. And a lot of people sit down all the time, and that also creates chronic pain on the lower body, even in the upper body for a lot of people in the back, on their back. So I'm just trying to help people feel better and be able to do their everyday normal life and using therapeutic massage.
Okay.
And just the last thing, I guess, to address kind of I know it was brought up about the parking question as well. Having Mr. Gargaro there next door as the building owner, any modifications to the parking area, striping, things of that nature, I'm sure would be an easy fix as needed. And if there's a need to directly point out on the site plan which spaces are available to this particular unit, and if there's a shared parking agreement that needs to be engaged with, we can certainly provide that as well. So.
Okay, very good. Appreciate that. Let's see if we have any questions for you. Any questions for our petitioner?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Ventura.
thank you for coming tonight, and I agree that Mr. Gargaro's done a fine job in rehabilitating that building. He made a great improvement, and he did a very nice job. However, I'm having a hard time justifying putting another massage establishment in the city of Livonia. I went on the AT&T website and printed off very quickly 54 other massage establishments in the city of Livonia, and I stopped printing at 54. So I asked myself, are these real? And I started dialing. I stopped after 22. Every one of them answered the phone. When you talk about Breathe Yoga and Salt, which is within the 400-foot limitation distance, okay? My wife is a yoga instructor, and she teaches there, and she offers classes there. Yoga, massage is not an afterthought there. They do a fairly brisk business in massage. So I say this to you in an advisory way. Maybe there's a place that your skill set works, but on 7 Mile Road in Livonia, there are 9 other massage therapy establishments on 7 Mile Road within the city limits. I mean, I'm sorry, but I just want to make you aware of this. I don't know whether you're aware of it or not, But I'm saying to you that I just can't see this being an opportunity for you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Ventura. Is there any other questions or comments?
Mr. Chair, I will ask a question.
Go ahead.
Why did you select this location in the city of Livonia and not somewhere else?
I have been looking around, and that location seems like a really good spot to be at. Despite I know of the massage place across the street, but I did not know exactly what was going on for the yoga install. I didn't know they had massage. I knew there was like a listing on Google Maps, but that listing was for someone, I don't know if they had moved to Farmington, but that was my recognition of that. But when I looked at the space, I really liked it, and it works out really well because currently I am a stretch and recovery practitioner at Schoolcraft College, and it fits in my area of being able to work there and having my own practice.
Okay. Would this be, you don't have a current location that you own or
No, I
operate
do
now?
not.
Okay. Yeah, you know, Pete's done a lot of work there, apparently. He's got, the 50-some spots, and it's saturated, so I feel the same way, unfortunately for you, but I feel the same way, so.
Thank you, Mr. Caramagno. Mr. Droz?
Yeah, I think, just to add on to that, it's unfortunate because we have had, as Mr. Ventura noted, we get a lot of traffic on this particular type of item. And you've done a really good job with your presentation, your architecture, and your approach, but the radius is the radius, and having one would have been one thing, but two, it makes it really difficult. So just unfortunate that it's kind of the way it is. So if there are other opportunities that might present themselves and you bring a similar plan, I would likely can give it good consideration, but I think the radius thing's a big deal at this point. Sorry.
All right. Any other questions, comments from anyone? Is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak on this item? I don't see anybody coming. Oh, there's one person coming forward.
Probably a moot point at
Oh,
this
hello.
point because it doesn't sound like you're going to approve it, but I do live in that neighborhood. My name is Cheryl Davidson. I live on Irving Street, 2 houses directly behind that little strip area where he's proposing.
Okay.
And we are very much against having another massage establishment, especially with the reputation of the Tai Chi place across the street. I have it on good authority that there's been nefarious activities there at different times, and we don't want that in our neighborhood. Nothing against this gentleman, I don't know him, but just as a parent, we have a lot of kids in this neighborhood, young families. We want to keep it that way. We like our neighborhood. Wasn't happy about the smoke shop going in next to Bigby, considering we have teens in our neighborhood, we have Stevenson down the street. We really want to keep this a nice, clean, family-friendly neighborhood. We all know each other, we all take care of each other. We want to be careful about the establishments that we bring into this area. So that's all I have to say.
Well, thank you for your comments. Appreciate
Thank
you
you,
coming forward.
appreciate it.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak on this item? Okay. Go ahead,
May I
sir.
ask a follow-up?
Of course.
Just as a point of order, because it does sound like it's going a different direction, as far as recourse, provided it doesn't go our way, what are the steps, I guess, to?
So what you're asking for tonight is a waiver use approval. We are going to make a recommendation of either approving or denying that. If we recommend approving, it will go to city council with that approving recommendation, and then you would go to city council, who ultimately makes the decision. And this goes for all three of these first agenda items, for anyone else in the audience wishing to understand our process. If it's denied, you have 10 days to appeal that decision to city council. So you still have an opportunity to go to city council, but they're going to have the background information of this meeting to say, hey, this body is recommending denial and the reasons we would be recommending that denial. They still can do whatever they wish to do at the city council, but That's basically how the process works.
And then was the same due diligence done with the yoga and massage therapy place that's literally right across the street? Were all these points brought up at the same time when that was approved?
You could certainly go back in the record and look at the minutes of
Just
that.
out of curiosity.
Every word that's said at this meeting is put in the record, so you can always read those things.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, is there anything else that you'd like to let us know before we make our decision? We always like to give you guys the last word. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. If there's no other discussion, I'll close the public hearing at this time, and a motion is in order.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Long,
I'd like to offer a denying resolution that this request to operate a massage establishment at 31410 Joy Road is denied. Joy Road? Is that-
that'd be 7 Mile.
Am I on the right?
It's actually a completely different address, 33529.
Yeah. A little cut and pasting going on, right? At 33529 7 Mile Road is denied for the following reasons. The petitioner has failed to comply with all general standards and requirements outlined in sections 6.37 and 13.13 of the Livonia zoning ordinance as amended. Number two, that the proposed massage therapy business is within 400 feet of another massage establishment and therefore does not comply with the special waiver use requirements specified in section 6.37 of the zoning ordinance as amended. Number three, that the petitioner has not adequately established that there is a need for the proposed use in the shopping center. And number four, that the proposal conflicts with the spirit and intent of the zoning ordinance to promote and encourage a balanced and appropriate mix of uses and not to oversaturate an area with similar uses.
Is there support?
Support.
All right, we have a motion made by Mr. Long, supported by Mr. Droz. This is a motion to recommend a denial of this item. Is there any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, if the secretary is ready, please call the roll.
Mr. Long?
Aye.
Mr. Droz?
Aye.
And Mrs. DeNaro?
Nay.
Mr. Bonjero?
Aye.
Mr. Ventura?
Aye.
Chair Magna votes aye. Chairman Wilshaw?
Votes aye. Motion passes. Item has been denied. The petitioner will have 10 days in which to appeal that decision in writing to City Council. And now we move on to item number 3 on our agenda.
Item number 3, petition 2025-11-02-21, submitted by Livonia Athletic District, requesting waiver use approval of under sections 3.05 and 6.48 of the Livonia zoning ordinance as amended to construct a new 96,200 square foot indoor soccer field structure and 2,641 square foot facility building at 14255 Stark Road, located in the southeast quarter of section 21.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Mr. Uhazy.
Thank you. This petition is to add the facility, building and soccer field behind the existing LAD, Livonia Athletic District, which is formerly the YMCA off Stark Road, which shares a parking lot with the Veterans Park to the north. The current the petition site measures 9.56 acres in size, with approximately 350 feet fronting Stark Road, and is approximately 1,190 feet deep. The existing site contains the former YMCA building, which includes several health and sports-related tenants, a cafe, arcade, indoor soccer space, putting green and golf lounge, and indoor pickleball courts. The current zoning of the site is N2 neighborhood, and adjacent to the site is to the east, across Stark Road, is Ford Field, Zone PL public land. To the north and west is the Veterans Park, also zoned PL public land. And to the south is Frost Middle School, Zone PL as well. Section 6.48 of the zoning ordinance allows privately owned and operated recreational uses within the N2 district, but they do require a waiver use approval. As part of that waiver approval, the site must be at least 4 acres in size, which this site does meet. Setbacks would be, would include front yard, front, side, and rear yard setbacks of at least 20 feet wide. The site plan does show that the rear setback would be approximately 300 feet. The side yard setbacks would be at least 20 feet to the north of the facility and 61 feet on the south side of the facility. It also requires a parking and traffic plan showing the planned provision for parking and egress and ingress, for pedestrian and motor vehicle traffic approved by the police and fire departments. According to the site plan, there will be a new 20-foot reinforced emergency vehicle drive along the north and west sides of the building, as well as a new 18.5 gravel drive for service vehicles that will be along the east and south of the proposed indoor soccer facility. The plan also needs to illustrate internal traffic flow patterns, access points to and from public right-of-ways, turning radii, and proposed modifications to driveway curb cuts. Pedestrian circulation should also be addressed through the inclusion of a designated walkway, crossing barrier-free routes, and connectivity to adjacent sidewalks or public pathways. Another provision is that the building height is not to exceed 1 story in height. Elevation plans for the field show a standing seam pitched metal roof with a peak height measuring 66 feet and 45 feet to the eaves. This would require a variance from the ZBA. For reference, the existing building has a height of 27 feet and was approved via the ZBA in the year 2000. The facade would be made of insulated metal panels wall system with metal storefront doors and metal roll-up garage doors on the east and west walls to accommodate service vehicles. The elevation plans for the facility building show a building height of 14 feet. The exterior walls are listed as brick veneer wall, partition stacked pattern. The main entrance shows a double metal storefront door with metal storefront windows on both sides. A metal canopy extends almost 29 feet along the east facade and approximately 40 feet along the south wall. The canopy is 8 1/2 feet to the bottom of the fascia and measures 3 feet in height. The Fieldhouse building would be a So you do have a color sample on your packet here, but for reference, the Fieldhouse building would be a sandstone color with regal blue accents on the panel canopy. And I believe the brick would match the existing building. The petitioner has submitted some renderings to show an idea of this is the existing buildings, and this is the facility building with the locker rooms and the actual field in the rear. Another view of the entryway. This is, I believe, the view from Stark Road. A landscaping plan, another provision of the ordinance requires a landscaping plan approved by the Parks and Recreation Department shall be filed with the Inspection Department as a condition to the issue of the permits. The landscape plan shows 3 birch silver canopy trees. Ornamental trees include 4 autumn brilliance serviceberries, 2 Amura maple trees, 2 Appalachian redbud trees, 7 winter king hawthorn trees, and 3 espresso Kentucky coffee trees. There would be 10 shrubs that are grow low fragrant sumac, 19 Berry Poppins winterberries, and 3 Mr. Poppins winterberries. The plan proposes a total of 222 perennials. A dumpster is proposed on the site here, south of the facilities building and along the northern wall of the existing field house. The dumpster on site is not currently enclosed, but the landscape plan cut sheet does show a dumpster that has surrounded on 3 walls with a steel frame gate. The lighting plan shows 9 lights would be mounted on the side of the building. The lights coincide with the 9 doors. Lights should not exceed 20 feet in height per the ordinance. Ceiling-mounted lighting will be placed on the new facility building, and 7 2-foot-tall ground-mounted bollard-style lights are also proposed. The floor plan shows that the facility building would contain a main entrance located to the east, here, a secondary entrance to the south, a conference room, office, vending area, storage closets, as well as men's and women's restrooms located in this building. And then the field house, shown on the bottom of the drawing, would be a full-size soccer field with limited area around the field lines. As part of the petition, the petitioner did submit a package that included a wetland delineation report and an Eagle pre-application meeting showing that no wetland permits are required on the site. There are wetlands on the parcel, but it would not be impacted by this, the disturbed area per this plan. The demolition plan gives you an idea of the 2.5 acres of woodlands that would be removed and the areas that would remain. So this is the existing building, the existing pickleball courts, abandoned courts, and so they'd be removing this area and this area of woodlands, and there would be about 2.21 acres of woodlands remaining to the rear of the site. Parking for this petition, section 9.05 requires the premise to accommodate at least 1/3 of the total member families and/or individual members of the organization. Parking at the site is provided via the paved area to the north. The parking allocation plan plan shows that the petition parcel has 103 existing parking spaces on site. Per the plan, 57 spaces are allocated to existing site users. The plan estimates a max of 40 families for the 2 teams. At this capacity, the building would require 15 parking spaces. The expected parking requirement for the entire site is a total of 72 parking spaces. And then lastly, stormwater would be handled for the new field house area would be handled under underground storage that would be located between the field house and the southern property line. And then runoff from the parking, or from the proposed restrooms and parking area would be handled off of rain gardens as part of the landscape plan that surrounds the facility building and existing building here. And then with that, Mr. Chair, I also have some correspondence I can read.
Sure, if you'd like to read that, please.
From the Engineering Department. In accordance with your request, the Engineering Division has reviewed the above referenced petition. We have no objections to the proposed waiver use at this time, but would like to note the following items. 1, the subject parcel is assigned the address 14255 Stark Road. Should additional addresses be needed, the owner will need to contact this department once approvals have been obtained. 2, existing parcel is currently serviced by public sanitary sewer and water main, as well as private stormwater. The submitted does not include any proposed utility information or calculations, so we are unable to comment on proposed impacts of the existing system at this time. Should approvals be granted, the developer will need to submit full engineering drawings to this department for permitting. 3, the proposed development will need to comply with the latest version of the Wayne County Stormwater Ordinance, including detention requirements. 4, per the state's preliminary wetland inventory map, A portion of the proposed site appears to be within regulated wetlands. The developer will need to have a survey conducted to delineate any wetlands on the site and obtain permits from the state for any disturbances or impacts. 5, the developer would need to obtain a soil erosion and sediment control permit from this department due to the proximity of existing wetlands. This is signed David Lear, Assistant City Engineer. From the fire department, the office has reviewed the site plan submitted in connection with the construction of a new building and use of the property located at the above reference address. No objections to this proposal with the stipulations. 1, if a sprinkler fire suppression system and fire alarm or alarm monitoring system is required, permits and plans shall be submitted for review. 2, fire department access roads shall be designed and maintained to support the imposed loads of fire apparatus and provide an adequate all-weather driving surface. 3, due to the footprint size of the facility, emergency vehicle access roads shall have proper widths per code and the ability to fully access with no obstacles at least 2 full sides of the building within proximity to fire hydrants for water supply. A further detailed plan review will take place when the division receives an official plan set. Signed, Brian Kukla, Fire Marshal. From the police department, I reviewed the plans in connection with this petition. I have no objections to the proposal. Signed, Paul Walters, Sergeant of the Traffic Bureau. From the inspection department, pursuant to your request, the above referenced petition has been reviewed. 1, the proposed parking calculations appear to be very light. Any excess or overflow parking that may occur at this facility would require a cross-parking agreement with the City of Livonia. A variance from the Zoning Board of Appeals would be required for the proposed excess building height. And 3, parking spaces shall be 10 by 20 and double striped. This department has no further objections to the petition. Signed, Jerome Hanna, Director of Inspection. From the Department of Finance, I have reviewed the address connected with the above noted petition. As there are no outstanding amounts receivable, I have no objections to the proposal. Signed, Benjamin Greer, Director of Finance. From the Treasury Department, all taxes are paid on this property. Signed, Susan Nash, City Treasurer. From our Parks and Rec Department, dear Chair and members of the Planning Commission, the Department of Parks and Recreation appreciates the opportunity to provide formal comment regarding the proposed expansion of the Livonia Athletic District. While we recognize the value that athletic and recreation-based facilities can bring to the community, we feel it is essential to outline several operational and logistical concerns related to the proposed expansion that directly impact city parks, facilities, and programming. First, the department has ongoing concerns regarding the lack of adequate on-site parking associated with the proposed expansion. Based on our understanding of the project, the applicant does not currently have sufficient parking capacity on their property to support the expanded operation. This shortfall has the potential to place increased pressure on nearby city-owned parking facilities, which are intended to support public park use, recreation programming, and community events. At this time, there is no formal agreement in place permitting the use of a city asset or parking assets for the athletic district's operations or expansions. Without such an agreement, unmanaged overflow parking could negatively affect park access, public safety, and user experience for residents and visitors. Secondly, Parks and Recreation has neither been presented with nor agreed to any shared use or joint parking agreement. City parking lots in the area are heavily utilized to support park patrons, seasonal programming, and large-scale community events. Any expectation of routine or event-related reliance on city parking would require a clearly defined, formally approved agreement that addresses capacity, maintenance, scheduling conflicts, and liability. Absent such an agreement, the department cannot support assumptions that the city parking will be available to offset private parking needs. Finally, we are concerned by ongoing complaints raised by the applicant regarding established community events, including Merry and Bright Holiday Parade and Livonia Spree, both of which take place in proximity to the proposed expansion site. These long-standing events are core to Livonia's community identity and are significant drivers of public engagement, tourism, and economic activity. Any future development in this area must acknowledge and accommodate these events rather than create ongoing conflicts or operational challenges related to their presence. In summary, the Department of Parks and Recreation respectfully requests that the Planning Commission carefully consider parking adequacy, the absence of formal parking agreements, and compatibility of the proposed expansion with long-established community events during its review. We believe these issues are critical to ensuring that private development does not adversely impact public assets, city operations, or community traditions. Thank you for the opportunity to provide input. Please do not hesitate to contact our department if you require additional information or clarification. Signed, Edward Davis, Superintendent of the Parks and Recreation. And then I have some resident correspondence to read as well.
Okay, yeah, we received a number of emails and correspondence. Is the quantity such that you can read those out, or do you want to just summarize it?
I think that we could summarize in the fact that you've all received them. There are concerns that are echoed by the traffic and loss of natural area and how that would impact the surrounding community neighborhoods, how it would impact the surrounding school, and offset of the parks and the noise that it could generate during special events and impact on the neighborhood.
Okay, and all those will be entered into our record as well so that they can continue with this item. So
Yes.
we do appreciate the people who have taken the time to correspond with us prior to this meeting. Is there anything else, Mr. Uhazy?
Not for me, no.
Okay, is there any questions for Mr. Uhazy? Mr. Droz?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A couple items. In your report, I thought I heard you mention with regard to the landscaping, that would be subject to review, was it of Parks and Rec?
Yeah, so that's a provision that we don't usually see.
Okay.
That is specific to the waiver use of the N2 for the privately operated venue within a N2 zoning.
Okay, thank you. And then I want to maybe touch on the parking calculations, and I think we'll get to the proposed calculations a little later. But as part of the provided information, there was basically an estimate for, well, let's say what the existing uses entail. Did the applicant provide any more information? Typically, we would see a use and then a rate per whatever unit is, whether it's square footage or number of, chairs, whatever that might be. Did they provide any information on what the existing facility uses? And I guess if not, is it, from the planning department's perspective, is it adequate in terms of what's shown?
Well, the existing facilities, they did show in the allocation plan here what they expect to use from the existing facilities. We do not have we were going off of the estimates of what their uses are as a established facility. The additional parking spots generated from the proposed facility were based off of what they told us that they would be having the two teams, assuming 20 people per team. That's where we got the calculations for the expected indoor additional spaces needed. But we were going off what the existing requirements, our existing uses are.
Okay. And then they did not provide a photometric plan either as part of the submittal?
No, just the lighting plan that was provided at the study.
Okay. That's all for me. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Droz. Any other questions for staff?
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Caremagna?
Jacob, the 300-foot setback from the building, is that from the public land that's behind their property? Is that the buffer that's between their property and the subdivision?
Yeah, that's the 300-foot buffer is from the property line to the building. There is an additional, so that would be from this line to the proposed building. There is an additional area to the west that I don't know the exact measurements of. So there's a little bit extra between there and the closest neighborhood.
So it could be 320, 330, 340?
I mean, I could get that for you if you.
Okay. And the parking lot that they currently use now, it joins to the Stamelski Park
Yes,
parking lot.
shown here.
Is there an official line, or is there an official separation, segregation? I don't know that there is, that I've
No,
seen.
Not that I've seen. I drove it this afternoon, and there's no official delineation that you could physically see. You would just be kind of having to know where it is that splits the two rows and kind of go from there.
Sure, and I don't think any of that parking lot is double striped either, right?
I don't believe so.
Okay, that's, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Caremagno. Any other questions for staff? Okay, I don't think there's any other questions. Our petitioners in the audience, feel free to come forward to our podium. Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Hi, would you like to start with your name and address, please?
I will. My name is Jeff Tripoli. I'm from 5480 Carrollton Court, Rochester, Michigan.
Very good. Thank you for being here this evening.
Appreciate the opportunity to speak with you.
What would you like to tell us about your request to add a indoor soccer facility?
Okay, I'd be happy to. So if I could go back a little bit, about 5 years ago during COVID, and a little bit about myself. I'm a seasoned marketing executive in the Detroit area. You might suspect automotive related, but the last 10, 15 years I've done development work around athletics. My kids participate in athletics. I'm a big fan, and I'm a big proponent of giving kids an opportunity to practice indoors, especially in the state that we live. So 5 years ago, we set out to find another location. I've already done 2 other facilities in Metro Detroit, and found the LAD, or Livonia Athletic District. Prior to that, it was the YMCA. And like many of you probably here today, everybody has a story. It's a historic facility. It's been there since 1968, and like many other operations, fell victim to COVID. So we looked carefully at it. It wasn't ideal in terms of the architecture. We primarily wanted to support soccer play, but really not prejudiced to any specific sports, and then set out to do what we did. And we were very prescriptive and careful about what we did, but like many businesses, we pivoted over time. We had gymnastics at one point. We moved to pickleball with the pickleball craze. So we put indoor pickleball. We put certainly a number of turf fields. At one point, we had a full operational pool, and we found that to be inefficient and was not going to allow us to pay the bills. So over time, we've programmed it in a way that we think is sustainable, but naturally, our demand has grown a little bit. In order for us to survive, we think we need to expand. And the expansion is a larger facility to support actually fewer players. So if you were to go there today, in fact, we just left there, we were congregating prior to coming out here, and this is our busiest period. Wintertime, after school, this is it. Over half of our lot was empty, and it was all short-sided play. What we're proposing to do is larger footprint with older kids who need larger spaces to let the ball fly. We operate most of our significant plays in our large gymnasium or large turf field, which was a tennis court in the time. So it's not quite high enough, it's not quite wide enough, and it's a lot of short-sided play because of that. So that's the purpose of what we're asking for. I will say that we've been very mindful of trying to be good stewards of our property, right? We know we have a lot of acreage, and we bought it for that reason. We invested in that for that reason. We knew over time, potentially, if we did things right, we could potentially expand without really encroaching on the rest of our residents nearby. So what you see in our plan is we're keeping over 2 acres of just like it is. Keep the walking paths. Let the residents enjoy it as they do today, because we hear from them often. We have to clear some of the area to support our build-out, but most of it, or at least a good half of it, is existing flat land where we had pickleball courts, which I would argue would be a lot louder than indoor play. And then the abandoned tennis courts, so we have an existing flat area where we know that we could take advantage of and then encroach as least as we possibly can into the back portion of the lot. And then we're planning back a big portion of that too. So we're trying to make it at least as intrusive, as I said, as we can. And lastly, when we first sought out for this, we thought we would have to do a dome. We thought that would be the only way it would pencil. We retracted from that, knowing for the obvious. We thought, hey, what could we do that's more cohesive with all the rest of the buildings and what, quite frankly, is a park and a recreation area? It was commented by Parks and Rec that, you know, we would want to make sure that we support the spree, which is so fundamentally important to this area. We participate in every year. We open our doors to it. We close down our facility. We let fireworks fly over our building. We let the fire folks in there, the police in there to use our facility because that's what it is. It's a community facility. And hopefully you're seeing the passion in my face because I believe that to be true. So yeah, I think we're really trying to be as responsible as we can to make sure that we have a sustainable business and support the demand that the community wants. Today, a lot of the teams that come out to our facility can't be there because of the size and restrictions we have, so they're driving out to Wixom and Novi and all over the place when they could come just down the road. With that, thank you. Appreciate the time.
Thank you, Mr. Tripoli. Just as a follow-up to kind of help you expand your presentation a little bit, some of this was discussed briefly at our study meeting, but explain to us the use of this indoor soccer facility in terms of who's going to be using it, how often it's going to be used, what its intent is, as opposed, you know, so that we understand, is this a training facility, is this a facility where competitive games are being played or tournaments, that type of thing? Is
It's
there
not
gonna
large enough to be
grandstands?
tournament play, but it is absolutely a training facility. Our primary tenant would be the Michigan Jags out of this area, and for their, called the U14 and older, where they need larger spaces to play. Today, we actually have more occupation, like I mentioned earlier, in our smaller gymnasiums because they're conducive to small little kickers. So there's lots of parents around, and it's just lawn chairs. It's not bleachers or anything like that. We have a small cafe, a little arcade to let people kind of congregate while they're waiting for their children. But to answer your question, primarily training. There's no tournaments, there's no sanctioned games or any of that nature right now. The primary tenant would be the Jaguars.
Okay. And there's no grandstands or viewing areas provided in this facility?
There are sideline chairs that you could bring, but there's no grandstands or anything like that.
All right, just wanted to get that out there so that, because that's obviously going to play into some of the questioning that'll probably go on
Sure.
This evening. With that, is there any questions from any of my fellow commissioners for our petitioner? We're going to start with Ms. DeNaro, and then Mr. Giroux.
Thank you. So can we talk about the outside first? You said there's going to be, you're going to minimize how much greenage you're going to take down. Talk me through how 2 acres are remaining of green space, how much is coming down?
Let me go to that so I can give you some specificity here. Okay, so if you're looking up to the grade shaded portion right there, that's 1.92 acreage right there. To the portion to the right of that is existing flat space where the pickleball courts are and the tennis courts. So that's 1.92. Then the box to the left of that is
So the 1.92 is all trees and green space right now?
It is just foliage, just old foliage. There's some old YMCA ropes courses back there and lots of dead trees. And actually, if you go back there and walk it, there's lots of mischief. There's beer bottles and things of that, so we would clean much of that up.
Okay. And then, parking, can we address the parking issue? It was addressed by Parks and Rec, it was addressed by a couple. Are there any changes since the study session to add more parking or to address those parking issues?
So the study we have right now shows 31 additional spaces beyond what we had. It was commented that that felt was light. So we've been in discussions with LPS and talked to them. They actually own the property to the north, which is the park, and then they lease that back to Parks and Rec. So what we do offer them, we're actually the emergency evacuation for Frost. We offer curriculums for their physical education program. They were in last Friday. We offer all those things for free. The nature of our business also is nighttime and weekends, and not summer. We're in the winter, opposite of what that park is. That park is busy in the winter. Right now, if you were to drive out there right now, there's snow all over it. Nobody's on it. So we're hopeful that in the event we need to ask for some sort of parking accommodation, that would be a natural thing to occur.
Okay, I mean, there would have to be some kind of, for me to be comfortable with this, there would have to be some kind of written agreement. There would have to be some kind of arrangement that the parking issue is addressed. And I guess I'll yield for now.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Tenaro. Mr.
Yep.
Droz?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, just to expand on the parking, I think it's part of, if this keeps in motion, I think just a reality of what this site's really going to need for parking. And just as one note, it recommends that we need 15 parking spaces. There's 16 toilets proposed as part of the bathroom. And so, you know, I know with site development, a lot of times you have to go to what is on the books with the ordinance, and I think the best you could do is using the club rationale, which I think basically 1/3 of the total membership for that. But I think, especially if you're familiar with this type of use, I would urge you to look beyond maybe our ordinance and what typical sites might use. Example, I happened to be at Genesee Fieldhouse this weekend for some baseball scrimmages. They were using a soccer field, they split it in half. I did a count, they had 120 spaces at that one site, just for one field. I'm not saying I need 120, but I think what's presented in this parking calculation, to me, just feels a little bit disingenuous for what the site probably is going to use. And so I look at that both on the proposed parking as well as the existing. And that's why I was talking with Mr. Uhazy about, you know, what are those numbers based on? It's listed here with your various uses, and that's fine, but I think just showing the particular portions of our ordinance and where those numbers are coming from would be helpful, because I think there are some other issues with the site, but the parking, to me, needs to be dealt with as item number one, just because the site is tight, and if you don't have an arrangement like Ms. Naro mentioned, I don't think this goes anywhere. So I'll yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Droz. Any other questions, comments? Mr. Bonjero?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You know, whenever there's something this contentious, obviously, with the neighbors and stuff, we, you know, encourage you to reach out. And I think you guys had an open house planned for Friday?
We did. We had 2 of them, and we did get some participation, some pushback, and some good comments, but both.
What was the feedback that you took?
Most of it was the really close residents, from my perspective, and I think the feedback was mixed. I think that we relaxed some folks with the notion that a dome was not on the table, that we were going with a more expensive, permanent steel structure, as you can see here with some of the materials in front of you. But others were pretty vocal about things like deer. Where'd the deer go? Things like traffic. And again, I said the same thing up there, I'm an open book, is when it was a YMCA, I'd argue the traffic was significantly more as a membership-based program, as opposed to what we're doing with large field training, where kids are being dropped off and picked up.
Yeah.
So that's the nature of it. I've been in this space for 7 years, at Livonia for 5. I know what the traffic's like. We have one event a year, Eurostars, that actually fills it up, where we actually need a little bit of the city parking. And that happens in January for 3 days. That's it. The rest of the time, over half of it is sitting vacant. To me, it's a natural. But I understand your concerns, and we'll certainly address that and try to pursue a parking arrangement.
I also share the same concern with the parking and the neighbors, obviously.
Sure.
So that also is something I'm considering, but I appreciate you guys even offering that open house. That was good.
Yeah, we try to be apparent. Most of the people we know, they come in, the kids come over after school and hang out in the arcade, so we've gotten to know some. And naturally, like most things, you're not going to please everybody, but we're trying to do it in the most responsible way that we know how. One of the topics was, what about the noise? What about the new mechanics or, the HVAC that would be required for a facility like that? It's going to be less loud than what we have today, because it's going to be newer, improved equipment. And we're putting in buffer zones and things like that. All the lighting we're doing is down lighting. So appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Bonjero. Any other questions at this time? We'll go with Mr. Droz again.
Go ahead.
Okay. Just a couple of civil-related questions about the site plan.
Sure.
So the one that we got today does open up the drive aisles around the building, and it depicts a vehicle making that turn on the corner. Has that been, that particular vehicle that you show for the maneuver, is that a fire vehicle that fire department has provided?
Keep me honest, I'll default to my architect, who's right behind.
Right behind you.
Hello, thank you so much for having us. That particular truck is a standard fire truck. We are unfortunately not able to get with the fire marshal, but we are able to go another 25% larger and still make our radius. So this is a standard one that's used in most
Okay.
cities.
Can we get your name for the record, please?
Sure, absolutely. Holly Kaiser, Studio 5.
Thank you. We just want to make sure your comments are attributed correctly.
No problem.
And then that vehicle, I assume, is not anticipated to go all the way around the site?
No.
Okay.
No. So the apron was added, so there'd be be able to maneuver in and out, be able to easily get in and out of the whole place. He did request fire hydrants. What we've done instead is we've decided a better use, instead of fire hydrants being outside, is we're placing them in the building and allowing access on both sides. So if there's something happening inside, they're able to actually get a hose in and hook up, or on the outside of the building, both in two opposite corners. So it should truly accommodate what he's looking for.
Is that suppression or just actual hydrants on the inside of the
It's
facility?
basically, it's both.
Okay.
It's the whole thing. Yeah, we're going to have fire suppression, but this is also for him if he needs to hook his hoses up.
Okay.
He has multiple ways to do it.
And then, with respect to the plan itself, it looked like it's like an aggregate surfacing coming off the parking lot by the rain gardens. Is that intended to be decorative, or is that more like a?
The driveway that
Well,
we've got there?
it almost looks like what I assume is kind of the spot where somebody would be walking in.
Yeah, those are actually, it's concrete.
It is concrete, okay.
Yeah, what the hope was that we had if we needed an emergency vehicle, if an ambulance had to go into the actual field house, if something happened, we could easily then get an ambulance to the overhead door, and then they can easily get a stretcher inside and get them in and out without having to maneuver through the facility building. This was going to be the safest way. It also allows the fire trucks to be able to, smaller ones, to ride on that path. And then what we do, once we left the concrete, then we go into gravel, knowing that we probably will just allow it to be something that they can shovel for people walking from the footpath. And then we put that new one in to connect, so the residents don't have to go to the street anymore to get to the park. They can now walk across a gravel one right into the facility that will be lit with bollards as well. But this way, we've got a path for any service vehicles without them tearing up the ground and destroying anything from the woodlands coming back.
Okay. And then two more civil ones, and I'll yield back. The grades along the northerly property line, it appears that it's somewhere between 2.5 to 3 foot drop over 6 foot.
Correct.
Retaining wall, or is that just gonna, because that can't be a mowed slope at that
Correct.
slope?
We have a retaining wall, oh gosh, I need a little pointer gizmo. Correct, right there,
Not
it's
so-
gonna be
no,
in that corner.
nor-
and
North
going-
side, the north side of the property.
North side, actually, it is just staying at standard slope going down, and what's happening is the building is actually going to be sort of somewhere in between the existing slope. We have it pushed away 5 feet from the property, and then our field height is going to be consistent at that 3-foot line, and that depending on where you come out and how the topography is just outside that door, you'll either have a ramp, an ADA ramp going up or going down with all the proper railings and things of that sort. So our goal is to not mess with the topography where we don't have to. We do know we're going to be addressing where we have stormwater and along the other path, and that's where we're going to be fielding up, putting in a retaining wall so that we have the proper field that we need to be able to replant over the entire stormwater.
Okay, I would just ask that you look at your, I don't have it's sheet C 1.1, the grades between the match existing and then what the roadway grade are shown. It's generally 2.5 to 3 foot. So if that needs to be a retaining wall, just to have that. The other problem with that is it's sheet flowing drainage onto the north property, and so it's not being managed on the site, so.
The civil guys still haven't gone through the entire thing, but what our plan is to capture that water and bring it back to our holding tank.
Okay.
So there easily will be some French drains that'll be in that 5 foot. So we'll probably start to slope towards the building in some areas so that we're not adding to any of the wetlands or anything like that. Our goal is to capture anything. So we do have enough property there so that in the next stage, we're able to do the correct sloping, French draining, and then underground piping to get to our stormwater retention.
Okay. And then the underground detention on the south side, there's quite a few plantings over top. A lot of them are herbaceous and some of the shrubs. Is there going to be enough cover over top of the underground system to accommodate the root structures?
Yeah, the particular plants that were actually selected are a low root system, and they're not ones that will tear this apart at all. That's why we don't have high canopy trees. We did shrink the driveway back on purpose, so that we now have a deeper set of, we have some deeper land that we can put in some canopy trees and evergreens. I don't think Jacob missed the one thing that we did do. We took it 18 foot and we shrunk it, since it doesn't have to be for fire, and we turned it to a 12-foot drive so that we had more property now. So we can add some higher trees and we can get a little bit more buffering, or even some evergreens.
Okay, thanks for answering my questions.
Very welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Droz. Mr. Ventura, did you want the floor?
Thank you, Mr. Wilshaw, but Mr. Droz asked my question. so-
Okay, very good. Any other folks with comments? Questions? We exhausted everyone at this point? Okay.
No, Mr. Chair, I've got some questions.
Go ahead, Mr. Caremagno.
The remaining 2 acres behind that you're proposing to untouch, is that wetlands, or is that just good solid earth and forest?
Not wetlands, I call it wetland, but it has not been said by Eagle as that wetlands. The wetland area actually is to the north of that. There's a drain right back.
The Barton drain comes in there. And do you mind if I take over?
Please do.
Okay,
Thank
I'm sorry. When we had Eagle out there, they specifically walked the site, and he really went directly to that drain. He noticed that there is quite a bit of vegetation that has been there for years. So this drain is an up drain, so it's really, this one isn't being used at this length, at this lower end of this drain. And that if it would be the rarest moment that any water would get into it. So he's already identified that there isn't a need for us to worry about it. But he did identify that the park area that is north of us, that is definitely wetlands. Doesn't come down to our property. I'm sorry, yeah, there you go, the barn. So that's the particular drain that he did walk through the whole thing. But he did indicate, though, the property north of it is definitely wetlands.
Okay, thank you. Have you thought about any future use for that property at all? Some way or another?
For the 2 acres behind? No.
No thoughts about it at all?
No thoughts about beyond this one at all. That's correct.
Okay. The building, the actual structure where you're going to play, proposing to play soccer, is that an insulated structure?
Yes, sir. I'll let you explain that.
Okay.
There's some panels.
Right now, we are looking at a two-span system. It could change, but right now what it is this is the roof, this is a section of the roof. It's not as big as it's going to be an 8-inch to meet our energy code. It is a click system. It's this wonderful thing that doesn't require us to add boatloads of caulk. It's really weather tight. Our wall system is actually a system, I can pass this around if you want, it falls apart though. But it's basically a completely insulated panel that's finished on both sides. So it's really quick to install, and it's all completely finished. So it's got an embossed finish on it. And this is where we have 2 different colors. I think I gave you the chips.
Yes, we have the
It
chips.
passed through.
So it's a completely insulated system. It'll be a 4-inch thick that meets our energy code as well for the walls.
And more than energy, sound deadening.
It's actually the whole entire.
Ms. Kaiser?
It's basically a
Ms. Kaiser?
straight foam.
We're going to ask that you go back to the microphones, 'cause, that way everyone in our audience can hear, and
I apologize.
it's okay.
I'm not used to that. Okay, so this entire system is all self-contained. It's all about sound absorption as well as our complete R-value for our energy code. It also will speed up it being installed. So once we have our frame, this basically gets clicked on and it's done. It's finished on both sides instantaneously. And that's the case also with the roof. So it comes in with integrated trim pieces and things of that sort. So we're trying to make a very sound absorption, but also meet energy, which has really gotten quite high recently, so you're kind of getting both at the same time.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Tell me about your property now. I'm assuming all these people came out because they've got something to say here. I'm sure they had something better to do tonight. So tell me about your property now. Who uses that property as it sits? Are there trails? Do people walk their dogs? What happens on your property right now?
All of that. You know, there's a path adjacent to our property to the south side that cuts from the neighborhood over to Stark Road, so there's a lot of traffic that runs across that. In fact, I bump into many residents who often tell me, you gotta address this tree or that tree, there's a lot of dead trees there that could either get in the path. But, you know, it's kind of dense area, so people do, I think, walk back there, walk their dogs through there, but certainly along the pathway adjacent to our facility, which we would keep intact.
And you've never made an issue of people using your property
Never.
for their personal needs?
No, when we converted the outside to outdoor pickleball and tried to make a business of that, turned out not to be a good use of our funds. We even let people come out there and do free pickleball clinics, but we've never stopped anybody from coming onto the property, visiting the property, and we won't in tomorrow's environment, should we get the approval. Those 2 acres would remain that way.
Okay, I think that's important as well. Your driveway to the south, where you have your 2 big air conditioning units,
Yes, sir?
is that driveway intended to be, I know you talked about it, and I didn't pick up on it. Is that driveway intended to be driven around if needed? And how do you get around the air conditioning units?
The air conditioning units are actually smaller than the drive. So what we've done is we've made it a concrete front to it, just in case we need to be able to access and have something heavy sitting on it in the time being to transfer it. So we have a concrete pad that's much bigger than the AC units and gravel for the rest. It's not really meant to be driven all the way around. It's there just in case we need to access things and be able to, you know, and also to give us surface for if there's egress. You're not stepping into mud puddles and holes and stuff. You've got a safe path.
Okay, I think I've got 2 more questions for you. Trying to read my handwriting here. The parking lot that you manage is in terrible shape, it looks like. What's your plan with the parking lot that you manage?
I'm surprised to hear you say it's in terrible shape. It's not in the best shape, for sure, but we certainly fill all the holes as those arise. We striped it about 1.5 years ago, and we'll certainly keep that maintained, with the expectation that there'll be some traffic on it during a potential construction project. We will certainly address that on the back end as well.
Is it double striped?
No.
10 by 20 double striped? No?
It's just single stripe standard parking.
Okay.
The whole entire lot, including the parks area as it's.
Yeah, I believe so. And then my last question was, tell me about the office building that you're presenting, or the smaller portion of the building. Why brick veneer? Why not full brick? Why not build it? Is that brick veneer I'm looking at there?
That's correct, yeah. It's actually, this brick with that finish, he couldn't get me the exact one. It matches the existing building. So, what we've got is, we wanted it to be part of the campus feel. We didn't want it to feel like it's just something that wasn't, that just didn't make sense. So our goal was to link it from what you could see from the front as you were driving. So it wouldn't be so like, why did you do that? We could have done it in a concrete block. We could have done it in something else, but keeping it in the style of the old YMCA and the addition that was put on is just making it feel more part of the entire campus.
I don't know the quality of that stuff. I think at one point it had a bad reputation as not being very durable. Is that durable now, or is it gonna last 2 years, 10 years, 100 years?
There's no reason why this shouldn't stay we're gonna have reinforcement to make sure it doesn't fall off the wall, if that's what is that what you mean? Okay.
Yeah.
No,
I would never want to see something
No, of course not.
that's not gonna hold up.
Yeah, and we don't design things for my office that way. So it'll have its horizontal and vertical reinforcement that will lock it back to the steel structure. So that it'll be within its like every 3 feet, and we won't have to worry about that at all. That absolutely has to happen. If it's just stacked like a regular brick, it will fall off.
And my last question is, what kind of money, what kind of investment is this on this property? Roundabout?
About a $3.5 million investment.
3.5?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Caremagno. And thank you, Ms. Kaiser, for bringing in the material samples and explaining those to us as well. Is there any other questions for the petitioner? I don't see any other questions. All right, I think we're all set there. I am now going to go to the audience, give you guys a chance to sit down for a moment.
You bet.
Anyone in our audience wishing to speak for or against this item is welcome to come forward and address us with their comments. Please. Before we get started, I'm just going to have a few ground rules. You've been an excellent audience so far in staying quiet so that we can hear what's being said by the speaker. We ask that you continue to do that. Let the speakers speak, and so that we can hear what they have to say. Please be respectful in your comments, and we are limiting comments is normally when we have an item like this to 2 minutes per person. So ask that you try to drive right to your points as to why you're for or presumably against this in many cases. And we'll just go back and forth, and we'll try to get everybody in tonight. We'll start with you, ma'am. And again, we'll ask your name and address so we know who you are.
My
Thank
name's
you.
Maureen Hook. I am here along with my daughter, Laura Magyar. I have lived at 14180 Stark Road since 1976. Okay, so 49 years.
Excellent.
I like where I'm at. There is, since the athletic area has taken over the Y, the traffic has increased a great deal, as well as the speed of which the traffic goes down the road. In fact, my daughter was hit by someone coming out of that athletic field at night, and she was pulling into her driveway, our driveway, and she was turning left into the drive, and someone came out from behind her from that athletic area and pushed her down the road 2 to 3 houses, okay? Totaled her car, all right? The neighbor next door, they've had someone hit them and coming out of the driveway, all right? So something has to be done with regards to traffic. Okay, it's too much traffic and it's too fast. I don't have a problem with athletics being there, it's a good thing. But we don't want to see it encroaching over, because right now, where it's at, they're talking about staying over on that side. But I see in the future, if parking becomes a problem, it's going to end up in front of our home. All right, I don't want that there. All right, as well as the activity from it. Right now, we have things happening because my daughter goes out in the evening and she sees over in the Ford Field that the people from that facility are going over there at night.
And that's time.
I'm sorry?
You're out of time. Can you just summarize?
Sure. It's just basically, something needs to be done with regards to the traffic situation, the speed people are going down the streets, and keeping things more the way they are versus severe changes.
Okay,
Okay?
we got it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hook. Appreciate your comments. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Thank you for my opportunity to speak. Dennis Tarr, 14072 Stanford, Livonia, Michigan, 48154. I've lived there since 1968. I've seen the Y. I've seen my city disappear. I'm concerned about loss of green space, displacement of wildlife. I don't agree with the stormwater retention. I don't think it's going to be big enough to handle both sides of that building. It's all going to go into the Rouge. We already have flooding there. I'm concerned about increased traffic, increased people, increased garbage, and increased crime. I do appreciate LAD. I went to their meeting. They appear to be attempting to be good neighbors and keeping the back 2.5 acres or 2.1 acres open to the public. I appreciate that greatly because they could just fence it off because it's theirs. I do not, however, agree that, and I don't know him, I don't know anything, but he said doesn't have any plans for that other 2.1 acres, but he bought that place knowing he was going to expand, and it was his own neighborhood. So what's to stop him from expanding? Nothing. This is a land use issue. I get it. Property use issue. Yeah, those are my main concerns. The increased people, garbage, and I don't want to look at it. I live across the street. I've been there since 1968. I was there when the Y was built, my house was built, my parents built that house. And I was there when Ford Field wasn't there. It was the woods. And it's just disappearing. There's a lot of vacant land in this city. I'm not against his idea. I'm against where he's putting it. But my fear is it's already his own neighborhood. And if he pulls out because he can't build here, it's his own neighborhood. Is the city going to build a neighborhood there? I'm danged if I do, danged if I don't. I'm not happy. Oh, and I also found out about this on the 8th of December, which was last Monday. They said they put Flyers in my mailbox, never got it. City said they said the city was supposed to put flyers in my mailbox, never got it. I talked to all my neighbors, we never got it. I've known about this for 8 days. I'm frustrated with that. Is
Understood.
that my time?
Yep. Thank you so much for your comments.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Good evening, sir.
Thank you for having me. My name is Grant Bird. I live at 33980 Schoolcraft. I am the house just south of Frost Middle School. My whole back fence faces that whole YMCA property. I've lived here since 1994. I grew up, they rebuilt the Y, they expanded it when I was just a child. I'm glad that somebody's in it. It's not sitting vacant, but I walk my dog. I take my daughter for walks. His even comment, I don't know him, never met him before. His back area, he even mentioned bottles, broken foliage, everything like that. There's graffiti. They don't take care of the area that's not important to them. Us, we have to see this as we walk that area. If you can't maintain, and you have $3 million of upkeep that you want to do this. Your parking lot's in shambles. It's been the same for 20 years. You can't take care of graffiti. There's other things you need to spend this money on to make it more presentable before people will accept this. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Appreciate you coming. Go ahead, ma'am.
Hi, my
Good
name is
evening.
Melissa Converse. I live at 14503 Ellen. I've been there since 2017, and I love Livonia. I'm also a proud Frost mom. I've had one child that has finished walking to Frost and is now going to graduate Churchill, and I have another that's just started walking there this year.
Great.
I already have issues with it is not lit path, and I know that's not just up to LAD, but when you own that property, you have that responsibility to protect the people that are around that property, and so I have a real security issue there. I disagree with the plan to repopulate with the trees that they're suggesting. These are small trees, ornamental trees that they're suggesting. They're going to take down old wood trees. This is a real problem. We are Michigan. We are proud Michigan. Livonia is a Tree City USA city. So I want to know, are we going to replace those trees, the standard 1-for-1 or even the 2-for-1 of A for A kind of a thing, you know, comparable trees. There is the wildlife concern, there is the wetland concern. We are losing green space, you know, hand over foot. It's just, I love an entrepreneur. I love recreation. I love the idea of this, but you know, Schoolcraft, our taxes just paid for their soccer fields over there, and which is wonderful. I'm a Schoolcraft grad. We have the Trinity Health Facility, athletic facility over there, which is never at full capacity. We have the one up the road in Farmington, Toco. Also, I don't see the benefit of this in this area. The parking lot, as they're talking about, and the safety issues, the safety concerns, the wildlife, again, I know I'm repeating myself, but I haven't heard the evidence of that. I fear Mr. Tripoli's words where he said that we either expand, we need to expand in order to survive. And so to me, that's fear-based planning, that's not evidence-based planning. And so I would just question that, like, where's the evidence?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Appreciate that. Hi, good evening, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Janet Schneider, and I live adjacent to this area, but where the YMCA is. And my concern is that I live in Stoneley Village, and it's a very popular community, and during the spree, we get a lot of parking in our streets. Then when the spree was when they had the fireworks, it was bumper to bumper parking, and they speeding around, and I'm concerned about the parking where they're going to park. I also am concerned where they're going to cut all those trees down. We have a very quiet, restful subdivision. I've lived there 47 years, and there's 30% of the people that live there have lived 47 years, plus a lot of them 10 to 30 years. And people don't even have to put a sign up to move in. They go to a real estate, and 2 or 3 days later, those houses are sold. Now, they're going to cut all that down, and I ride my bike. I'm 79 years old, but I ride my bike through there all the time, and I ride all around Livonia. And when I had my dogs, I took them down there and trained them and stuff. And it's just going to, that big building there just doesn't fit into this area. They need to put it in a more commercial area, in the industrial, across the expressway someplace, or in another area in Livonia.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Schneider, for your comments.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Hi, good evening, ma'am.
Hi, good evening. My name is Kristen Calloway Ward, and I'm here with my father, who is an original homeowner in Stoneleigh Village. We are also former business owners in the city of Livonia, having owned Soccer Plus for many years. Our house backs up to the woods behind Frost, and I walk those woods daily as I have a lab who requires 2 walks a day. This area, as you well know, is overrun by the ever-increasing deer population, in addition to fox, coyotes, and various waterfowl. I've observed the repaving and tree removal during the upgrade to the tennis courts at LIC, and was very disappointed to see the debris that was left in the woods. In fact, we had a deer in our yard that had orange temporary fencing wrapped around its hind leg for weeks, running around. My concern is that the city, I believe, has already planned on adding new soccer fields at Sheldon Park. I think that's correct. So why destroy another wooded area and wetlands to build more? Well, I realize the city can gain well over $100,000 in additional taxes from this proposed structure. We're also trying to get younger families in this aging community. And I really think we need to see the value of preserving our green space to entice the younger generation to move here. Not by destroying nature and displacing wildlife, but providing more green space for kids. According to Eagle's website, and I have some printouts here, this entire area is a designated wetlands. So I would be curious to see the reports that were generated when Eagle was on site, because these are designated wetlands. And I'm not sure how that changed, because I just downloaded the map last week and it's the same today. So maybe they haven't upgraded it, but a lot of it is wetlands. I would say 75% of it. My personal experience walking these woods is there is a large area that is always submerged from April through like June or July.
Your time is up.
We need to preserve that. Time's up.
Thank you for your comments, though. I really appreciate that.
I'll send you the rest in writing.
That would be wonderful. Thank you. We'll make sure it's part of our record. Good evening, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Taryn Dixon. I live at 14172 Ashurst. I'm right directly behind where this facility is going to go up. And I've only been there 5 years. Matter of fact, the 18th, it'll be 5 years. And I love this area. I've been extremely, immensely blessed to live here. And then to find out that this is going to come about just kind of crushes me on the inside. And so I've never been in a walkable neighborhood before, and where people, because they use that path all the time, and it's going to run up alongside that building. And I keep thinking, that's not safe for kids to be, the building is here and the path is right alongside of it. And that's, to me is not a safe thing. And anyways, I'm just letting you know, I'm not happy.
Right.
Have a good day.
Well,
Merry
we appreciate
Christmas.
your comments. Thank you, and same to you. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Kirk Rylands, 32043 Main Street, parent of a Frost Middle School student. I just want to bring up on top of the wildlife and safety and all that this is the club that he's talking about. I am heavily involved in a soccer in this area. Is not for a Livonia club. It is for a Northville club, of which there is also a Northville facility that's going to be built in the coming years. I also want to mention that in the last rain snow event, that the snow and water was built up in that Barlow drain that's in their area going down towards the north. I think that the site plan that they're showing here is also very deceiving. I bet you it'll probably come out another 50 feet away from the edge of the building to remove trees for these wetlands and insurance policy. Another thing that we're talking about is if this sunk down 3 feet, or up, that a ADA ramp would be over 40 feet long to accommodate the 36-inch drop. Also parking is a concern at Trinity Sports Complex. There's over 250 parking spots right next to the 11v11 field and dome, which would be more probably kind to what we're going to be seeing with this facility. Teams show up 30 minutes before, leave 20 to 30 minutes after a practice. We're going to have overlapping of different fields. If you look at the Trinity Sports Complex, they are filling in 6, 7, 8 teams on this 11v11 field, which I would assume to maximize the JAG's investment to using these fields, that they would be piling in as many teams and people as we can. But on top of that, I just want to mention that my son is a Frost student. One of the things that we looked at when deciding if he goes to Emerson or Frost is the MACAP program, the site and facilities there, along with the beauty of the plot. You have a premier school that's in Wayne County. You have premier schools in Michigan, in the nation. You have some of the brightest kids there. And it would be a shame that any of these kids turn away just because now they're looking at a giant, ugly metal building instead of beautiful wildlife.
You packed a lot into 2 minutes. We really appreciate that. Thank you for your comments.
He's hard to follow. Hi, my name's
evening.
Lynn England. I live at 34414 Middleborough, and my husband and I are the fortunate ones who get to stare directly at a 67-foot metal building. We are right on the curve where the woods end and our house. Beautiful site. I'd like to say probably nicest site or lot in the neighborhood currently. That goes up, my property value sinks. I concerned about the water issue. There is water back there. Our yards currently do not flood. Will they flood? We have the advantage of watching how many people utilize that space every day because we directly look at it. On a cold day, you're gonna have at least 25 people back there. On a nice day, you're gonna have 50 to 100. The pandemic, you couldn't believe how many people use that. When it's gone, it's gone. I'm sorry, your business has twice you've said that you've had problems making the bills, basically. And to do this, what happens when this business fails? Then we have this facility, who's gonna reuse it? What's it gonna be? I'm concerned about the future with it, so, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. England. Hi, good evening, sir.
Hello, my name is Nathan Holmes, live at 14323 Ellen Drive. Got 3 things to say. First of all, thank you for buying that building and not letting it just go vacant, because that would be awful, just to have another vacant building in Livonia. I cannot support this venture, though, for a couple reasons. Without a doubt, anyone who's been back in those woods knows it's a wetland, without a doubt. And another thing that we just heard tonight, as my neighbor mentioned, the JAGs don't play in Livonia. Why are we building a facility for an out-of-city soccer team? I don't understand that. So, thank you.
Hi, thank you for your comments, sir. Hi, good evening, ma'am.
Hi, my name's Lainey Hart. I live at 18666 Park Lane Street. I don't live near there, but I've definitely used those woods, like for running and stuff. I do a lot of habitat restoration in the state, and I definitely feel that with the proximity of the drain and the wetland, even building the sports facility would impact that drain. It's a wetland. They provide a lot of services, not only to our community, but the communities around us. And I don't know, I just think that's something we shouldn't take for granted. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Excellent. Good evening, sir.
Hi, Dennis Creedon, 14070 Ashurst. Yeah, I'm opposed. Multiple things that people have said I agree with. There's standing water back there all the time, so I'd like to understand where that water is going to go once that building's there. The building's just too large for the area. It doesn't fit with what else is around there. Walking up that sidewalk between their property and Frost all the time, they don't really maintain that backside of that building. There's the walls don't look good. There's rolls of the lane markers for the pool that apparently they're not using sitting back there. It's not really upkept, so what makes me think they'll upkeep some new giant building. I also feel for the people on Stark Road with the traffic. I had previously lived on Hubbard, and when the rec center opened, whoever decided to make the entrance off of Hubbard increased my traffic tremendously. So I do think there'll be a lot more traffic for the people on Stark. And also saying that it's just gonna be for training, I find that hard to believe. As soon as you have games there, I have an 18-year-old son who's been in sports all his life. Teams currently playing, the next team showing up, traffic gets crazy. It really fills up. Plus the older age group, they're gonna be driving themselves. A lot of them are. They're not gonna get dropped off, so there's gonna be lots of cars that need to go somewhere. So, thank you.
Very good. Appreciate your comments. Thank you.
My
Hi,
name
good
is
evening, sir.
Dan Priest. I lived 40 years at 14067 Ellen Drive. I've also lived 5 years at 14050 Barber Street. For the last 45 years, I've been walking all of my dogs. I've always had dogs, walked them in that area. I walked alongside the cemetery area, right by the sidewalk, and go to the cemetery, and then I walk all the way to the back, and there's actually there's a bridge that goes across, which would be on the very north end of the cemetery. Then come all the way around and go behind the Y, and there's another path that goes down through there. And I love that space. I've been walking with my friend for the last 5 years. I've had at least 3 dogs we walk, and we really enjoy that area. But now that we're gonna be building this big fancy building and stuff, and it might take us some of that green space that we have. It might also be knocking out some of the areas that I like to walk, and I've been doing it for that many years, 45 years. I just wanted to let you know.
Well, we appreciate your comments. Thank you for coming tonight. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Looks like I'm the last one speaking.
Save the best for last, right?
Gary J. DeTore, 14028 Stamford, been there since 1994. I think one thing all of us can agree upon is when you look to purchase property, to buy a house, to raise your family and your animals, you look around to see what's there. And then you scope, after you scoped it all out, you say, this is where I want to plant my feet, by what's around me. None of us here signed up to have this building dropped into a neighborhood that it doesn't really belong into. We moved into a place without that building, and that's the way that we'd like to have it remain. Traffic will increase. The building will indeed attract people because that's what it's supposed to do, or it wouldn't be a business. And what do we get, the people who live there, get out of this? Nothing. We get nothing but traffic, and it's not worth it for us. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Appreciate you coming tonight. If that should take care of the public comment period. I appreciate everyone's comments and coming forward and speaking. I know it's not easy. If you've never done it before, it can be a little nervous, and you guys all did an excellent job of expressing your opinions, so we appreciate that. I will now ask the petitioner to come back forward and let us know if there's anything that they would like to address based on the comments that were heard. Again, we're not going to get into a back and forth debate, but you had a chance to hear some of the neighbors' comments. You've also heard them at your private meeting that you had with them. Is there any concerns that were raised tonight that you want to address at this point?
Sure. First off, just like to thank the dialogue. Appreciate the tenor of the conversation, both at our facility when people came out. They were genuine in their comments, and we tried to be as equally and genuine in our responses. We realize that what we're presenting isn't perfect for everybody. That's for sure, and people will be impacted. I can tell you as a responsible steward of my businesses, I will not expand beyond this if I get the opportunity to do it. I would be willing to put that in writing. I do want to preserve a good portion of it. The business, from my perspective, demands that I have to do this or I won't be able to continue to operate. We do finally, in a cash positive way, we're able to pay our taxes. We'll continue to do that. If you go back before COVID, you had an organization that was there, and it was certainly community-based, and YMCA, and like I mentioned before, has a great history in this community. I used to go there with my family who lived in Livonia, but they didn't make it. And they weren't paying taxes. And we're really trying to do the right thing based on the demand that people are asking for in a way that hopefully can coexist with all the wonderful people in the room. And I genuinely mean that. I will address for sure some of the things that I heard. Parking, I'd like to take some time and maybe put a better study in place for you for that. And then speak with not only the school system, but clearly Parks and Rec, who didn't have some of that same dialogue that we were having with Bill and team from LPS. So thank you for letting me invest in this city. We hope to continue to do so.
Thank you, Mr. Tripoli. Let me, before you,
Yeah.
you leave, let me see if there's anyone has any questions again from the commission. As a follow-up, is there any follow-up questions for our petitioner? Is there any follow-up questions? Mr. Ventura, did you have something?
Yeah, yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Tripoli.
Yep.
So two topics. One, there's no debate about how inappropriate that building is in that location. It's basically an industrial building. It's surrounded by homes that are brick and stone and siding and residential in character. When that YMCA was put there, the YMCA was not viewed as a commercial property. It was viewed as a community asset, I guess is the best way to term that. And the construction of that building reflects it. It's brick and limestone, and it's a substantial building, and it reflects the character of the neighborhood. So my question to you is, would you be willing to go away from these products and build a brick and stone facility there that reflects the character of the neighborhood, number one, building materials that are there, number two, and do what you can to make that building smaller? Okay, that's question number one.
Sure.
The other concern I have is that this is a 100,000 square foot building. And I don't know much about soccer, admittedly, but what if you can't lease it? What if you can't rent it for soccer? What do you do with it? So then you're back somewhere saying, well, I want to put these shows in there, or I want to have exhibitions in there, or I want to have an event space, or I want to do this, or I want to do that. Totally changing the character then of the building and further moving away from the residential character of that neighborhood. So the second question I have is, would you be willing and would you abide some very, very, very strict restrictions on your ability to use that building for anything other than soccer?
Could I answer both questions?
Please.
Okay, great. First question was around
Character of the building.
Thank you. Absolutely, we would consider anything that would be more conducive to, favorable public opinion and be aligned with what the rest of the environment is. It's a cost factor for sure. So we'd have to explore that in a collaborative way to see where we can make improvements. I would also tell you that the front end of our building today is brick. As the YMCA was granted approval to expand over time, those are metal structures behind it. So this is actually, I would argue, very consistent with how that building has progressed over time to the rear end of that property. Secondly, absolutely, I'm confident that this is a sustainable business as a soccer facility. Also, I will condition it with a little bit of athletics too. There's some flag football and other athletics. It'd be 90% soccer, but we do on occasion layer in some other athletics, but that's all it would be used for. I've operated athletics for about 7 years now, successfully in Utica, and then also now with Livonia, and turning that from a vacant building, and the gentleman commented earlier where it was graffitied, it was run down. We put a lot of money into that. We really did. And we put a tenant base that we thought was really cohesive together. We have small businesses all from Livonia. I don't operate the whole thing. We have a chiropractor in there. We have HealthQuest in there. We have Core Chiropractic. We have Sogility, which is short-sighted technical soccer training. And then this is just a natural extension of that. So I'm more than confident, I can't predict the future, but I'm more than confident that we could put a sustainable business if allowed to pursue this plan specific to soccer, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Ventura. Any other comments from any of the commissioners before we close the public hearing?
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Caremagna.
those answers that you gave, Peter, I think are good answers, but I think that there's more unanswered questions about this plan that I'd like to see before I made a decision.
Sure.
I think there's a lot of questions here, more questions than answers at this particular moment, so that's kind of where I'm thinking I'm at. I'm not a hard yes, I'm not a hard no, but there's more questions and thought that you need to put into this, you and your team need to put into this, and in my mind, come back with a revised plan or thoughts and hear what the public had to say as well. Because
Sure.
again, I heard them very, very loud and clear, traffic, speeding, stormwater, walking on your property, which is a concern of mine. I've had property, and I developed it, and had people come out and say, hey, I'm walking on your property and walking my dogs and planting flowers. Well, that's a concern too. That's a concern for you. And I get that, and nobody wants to hear that, but that's reality. They're walking on your property and opposing what you want to do. So that's a legitimate concern too. So I think there's more to be had here.
Thank you, Mr. Caremagna. Any other questions, comments for our petitioner before we close public hearing? I don't see anything. Thank you, Mr. Tripoli, for being here.
You're very welcome.
I'm going to close the public hearing at this time, and now a motion would be in order.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Caremagna.
I'm going to offer a tabling motion.
All right, and are you going to table it to a date certain or to an open-ended date?
6 months out.
Okay, and then we can always remove that from the table at any time if needed. I'll offer a 6-month table. Is that, Mr. Uhazy, is that understood? All right. Is there support for the tabling motion?
I'll support.
There is a tabling motion that's been placed by Mr. Caremagna, supported by Mr. Ventura. There is no discussion on tabling motions. Would the secretary please call the roll when ready?
Caremagna votes aye. Mr. Ventura.
Aye.
Ms. DeNaro.
Aye.
Mr. Bonjero. Aye. Mr. Long.
No.
Mr. Droz.
Aye.
Mr. Wilshaw. Chairman Wilshaw.
Votes aye. Item has been tabled. So thank you for coming tonight for our residents. This item has not been decided. As you heard, it has been tabled. So we're giving the petitioner a chance to do some additional work on his plan and come back to us with additional changes or revisions. So please stay tuned as you're interested in this item, and you'll see this on a future agenda. So thank you for coming tonight. That takes care of the public hearing section of our agenda. We now move on to the miscellaneous section of our agenda. We do have one item on there. You might want to just give a brief minute for the room to clear here. Grab everything. Okay, great. I think we're ready to call that item.
Number 4, petition 2025-02-02-05, submitted by Symmetry Management, requesting to amend the site plan and conditions approved under council resolution number 139-25, granted on May 7th, 2025, to eliminate the requirement of providing access to Chippewa Drive in connection with construction of a new 2,515 square foot, full-service restaurant with drive-through facilities at 39200 7 Mile Road, located at the northeast corner of 7 Mile Road and Haggerty Roads in the southwest quarter of Section 6.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Mr. Uhazy.
Thank you. So this is to amend the site plan and the conditions approved under Council Resolution Number 139-25, granted on May 7th, 2025. This amendment is to amend the access along Chippewa Drive. It would eliminate the required access in connection with the construction of a new 2,515 square foot drive-through restaurant in relation to the Cava project that we did previously approve. All other aspects of this would remain the same: the building design and layout, the access along 7 Mile. The only change would be to the access to the Chippewa Drive that was not able to be secured.
Okay. And is there correspondence on this
Yes.
item? Maybe you can
Apologize.
just quickly go through those.
Yes. From the Inspection Department, pursuant to your request, the above referenced petition has been reviewed. The department has no objections to this petition. Signed, Jerome Hanna, Director of Inspection. From the Police Department, I reviewed the plans in connection with this petition. I have no objections to the proposal. Signed, Paul Walters, Sergeant of the Traffic Bureau. From the Fire Department, the office has reviewed the site plan submitted in connection with a request to construct a commercial building on the property located at the above referenced address. We have no objections to this proposal following with the following stipulations per fire codes: widths of and clear areas of roadways for emergency vehicles, water supply distances, fire hydrants, provide permits and official plan sets for kitchen cooking operations. A further detailed plan review will take place when the division receives an official plan set. Signed, Brian Kukla. Then, in accordance with, from the Engineering Department, excuse me, in accordance with your request, the Engineering Division has reviewed the above referenced petition. We have no objections to the proposed project at this time, but would like to note the following items. 1, the subject parcel is assigned the address of 39200 7 Mile Road. Should additional addresses be needed, the owner will need to contact this department once approvals have been obtained. 2, the existing parcel is currently serviced by public sanitary sewer and water main, as well as private storm water. The developer has submitted engineering drawings and calculations to this department for permitting and is currently working through the review process. 3, the developer will need to obtain a soil erosion and sedimentation control permit from the department due to the proximity of the existing wetlands. 4, any disturbances with the 7 Mile right-of-way will require permits through the Wayne County Department of Public Services, including driveway approaches and sidewalk removals and placements. Signed, David Lear, Assistant City Engineer. And then that is all I have for that petition.
All right, any questions for staff? No questions? Our petitioners in the audience? Good evening.
My knee's working again. John Friel, Cemetery Management, 4327 Delamere Court, Royal Oak, Michigan. We are here for simply the removal of a third curb cut to the property onto Chippewa Drive. Chippewa Drive is a private drive, not public, so any easement would have to be obtained through private party. Through many months of discussions, they have not granted us that access. Looking at a revised traffic study, we found no negative impact of removal. Traffic will flow through the site naturally off of 7 Mile or further to the west through that facility because it's a shared access onto Haggerty Road. Any questions? I'm ready to go.
Well, let's see if we have some questions. Mr. Droz? Go ahead, Mr. Droz.
Quick one. I'm assuming you do have access to build the sewer? Does it look like that's going to go across that drive?
Yes, so we'll have an easement there. I believe that's the gray section on the right there that will go across to the public utility. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions? Anything from anyone? No, Mr. Ventura?
Mr. Wilshaw, thank you. Good evening. At our study session, we talked about the fact that the access to this site from 7 Mile Road is a right-in, right-out only.
That's correct.
And the question was posed to you that how do you accommodate a customer that comes from the east and wants to go back to the east?
The right-in, right-out is dictated by the county. For safety reasons, it's too close to the intersection to make a left going then further east. So a customer coming from the east and wants to return back towards that area would need to enter the site and exit then westbound 7 Mile, turn north on Haggerty, find a way to turn around, or go into the property just north of ours, which is the AMC property, the owner of Chippewa Drive, and exit that way. That's the recourse that anybody would need, and that's how the site is functioning currently with the restaurant on the hard corner of Haggerty and 7 Mile. The county won't let us modify.
I understand that.
Okay.
And in my visits to that parking lot to observe traffic there, I do see cars exiting that right-in, right-out
Sure.
access from 7 Mile Road
Sure.
and turning left and going east. So,
If available, they probably will do that.
and that, in the opinion of Wayne County, is an unsafe condition.
Correct.
Okay. How do you propose to solve that? How do you propose to, how to enforce the fact that you have a right-in, right-out?
The only recourse we have is to put a sign up, and we could do that.
And the sign would say,
No left turn.
what about a sign at your drive-through or at the exit that explains your solution and directs people to turn right and then go through that development to the north so that they can access to the light that's immediately west of your site on Chippewa Drive and 7 Mile and then turn left?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we can put any kind of signage we want on our property.
I understand.
For sure. And to try to explain a route that somebody could take, absolutely,
And you'd be willing to do that?
absolutely.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Wilshire.
Thank you, Mr. Ventura. Any other questions? Creative solution, Mr. Ventura.
Not a lot of options, Mr. Wilshire.
No, there's not.
I don't know about Braille.
Is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak on this item? I know you're disappointed that the audience wasn't here for your item, but
That's
they're not.
quite okay.
They're not. All right, so if there's no one in the audience wishing to speak, is there anything else that you'd like to let us know before we make our decision?
No, I think this is just a simple, delete to it. Engineering-wise, we're all good to go. We don't see any issues, from a drainage standpoint or anything that changes at all. It's just leaving the landscape in, or actually leaving a tree in that we're potentially pulling out by putting this driveway in. So keeping the green space as it was.
All right, very good. Well, thank you for coming. Let's see if there is a motion. A motion would be in order.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Droz.
I'd like to make a approving resolution here that the request to amend the site plan and conditions approved under Council Resolution 139-25, granted on May 7, 2025, to eliminate the requirement of providing access to Chippewa Drive in connection with the construction of a 2,515 square foot full-service restaurant with drive-through facilities at 39200 7 Mile Road is hereby approved, subject to City Council approved and the following conditions. One, that the site plan identified as sheet number C-3, prepared by Stonefield Engineering and Design, dated November 13, 2025, is hereby approved and shall be adhered to, and that the remaining conditions described in CR number 139-25 are adhered to.
Is there support?
Support.
All right, we have a support by Mr. Bonjero. That's a motion to approve by Droz, supported by Bonjero.
Mr. Chairman,
And Mr. Ventura.
I'd like to ask Mr. Droz to entertain a third condition to his motion.
Yes.
And that condition would be that the petitioner erect signage on the site visible to those going through drive-through and exiting the sit-down portion of the restaurant that adequately depicts and explains the way that they can proceed east from the site.
Is that clear to you, Mr. Droz?
It is.
And you're in support of that?
Yes.
All right, and Mr. Bonjero, you're okay with that? All right, thank you, Mr. Ventura. Any other comments on the motion? If not, if there is no other comments, this is an approving resolution. If the secretary is ready, please call the roll.
Mr. Droz.
Aye.
Mr. Bonjero. Aye. Mrs. DeNaro.
Aye.
Mr. Long.
Aye.
Mr. Ventura.
Aye.
Caremagno votes aye. Chairman Wilshaw.
Votes aye, motion passes. We'll go to City Council with an approving recommendation. Thank you for coming and staying tonight.
Thank you for your time.
Appreciate that. We have one item left on our agenda, Mr. Secretary.
Number 5, the approval of the minutes of the 1,238th public hearing and regular meeting held by the Planning Commission on December 2nd, 2025.
All members are present with the exception of Mr. Bonjero. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
By Ms. DeNaro, supported by
Support.
Mr. Long. That is DeNaro and Long on a motion to approve. If there's no objection, I think we can safely show 6 on that. I hear no objections, so we'll mark that as such. Before we adjourn our agenda, is there any other business to come before the commission? Hearing no other business, I do want to take the moment to note that this is the last meeting of the year for the Planning Commission. And as I have probably done most years, I want to thank my colleagues for a year's worth of meetings and work together. It's been a lot of interesting topics we've had and some difficult ones as well through this year. And we even had a fairly long meeting for tonight. So I do appreciate everything that everyone does. I also want to express my thankfulness for our planning staff and all the work that they put into making these meetings possible. It's there's a lot of work that goes in behind the scenes to prepare these packets that we have and get the information together and to communicate to the petitioners. And that work is largely done quietly, and it's done kind of behind the scenes. So I do want to recognize the work that they do, which has been excellent for this past year. I look forward to another year of working with you guys. And also, same goes to our Livonia television crew who bring these meetings to the community every year, every evening. And they work throughout the year as well to not only televise these meetings, but get them onto YouTube and so on. Again, work is being done behind the scenes that we don't necessarily interact with on a regular basis, but make these meetings possible. So I do want to thank everyone for that. I want to wish everyone a happy, a Merry Christmas, which is coming up here in a couple weeks, or actually very shortly, and also a Happy New Year holiday. I hope everyone is safe and has an enjoyable time. If there's nothing else, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
We have one by Ms. DeNaro and seconded by Mr. Bonjero. And again, if there's no objection, I think we can safely show 7 on that. Thank you and good night, Livonia.